In this tutorial, we're going to work on creating a torch lighting system that you can find in games like Don't Starve. We're going to be using a platformer for an example, but this will apply to any type of game that you want to make, like a top-down RPG. And in order to get started with this, I do have a basic project set up with a character with some basic animations. I have an idle and a walk animation. I have a collision shape. I've added a camera to the player. And I have a really basic movement script. And then in our main level, the only thing I'm doing here is setting our background to be all black. All the assets used in this video are right here, and they will be listed in the description of the video. So let's get right on into it. And we want to go to our character. And as a child of our character, we're going to create a node 2D. We're going to call this our torch. And below this, we're going to add a point light 2D. And we're going to add what we're going to call our flicker timer. So we're going to go to our point light 2D. We're going to create a new gradient texture 2D. We want to make sure that this is going to be directly on top of our torch. And we're going to click into the gradient here. Click here, and in this first bit right here, we're going to make this all white. And then in the second bit here, we are going to have all white on an alpha of 0. We want 64 by 64. It's actually, let's bring this up to 256 by 256. And in our fill, we want to make this radial. So you can see we're going to have more of a circle light here. And then in our from, we're going to do 0.5 to 0.5. So we have this more structured in the center. And then in our to, we're going to do 0.5. Down here in our light 2D part of the point light 2D, we're going to use a warm orange. So the hex code for this is going to be FFA 500. Then we're going to go to our torch, and we are going to attach a script. We can just call it torch.gd, and we're not going to need a ready method. And we're going to need our point light 2D as an onReady. I'm just going to rename this to light. And then we're going to have one regular variable that we're going to call our base energy, which is going to be a float, and it's going to equal 1.0. And then inside of our process, the only thing that we're going to do is do our light energy. We're going to do our base energy plus a random float range between negative 0.2 and positive 0.2. So we go and play our scene now. You can see we do have this flicker, but we can still see everything within our scene. And that's not what I want to happen. I only want to see stuff in this flicker range of the point light. So in order to do this, we need to go to our main scene, and we are going to add a canvas modulate node. And the only thing that we have to do inside of this canvas modulate node is we want to go to our color, and we just want to set this to black. So this is going to have a black background all over our game. And now you can see as we move further away from the range that we put on our point light, the visuals just fade to black. So it's a really quick way that you can add a cool torch lighting effect with having it flicker a little bit. And a lot of this is going to be really easily built on top of. So you can enhance this by customizing the light a little bit more. If you want to adjust the random float range, you can change the flicker intensity. You can add a fuel system like you have in Don't Starve, where the longer you're holding a torch, the more fuel you use. And then when the fuel is all used up, the torch goes out. You could add some visual effects like particles to the torch to add smoke and sparks. And you can even use this to create flickering lights inside of your caves. You can make enemies that are afraid of the light and make certain platforms that are only visible with the torchlight. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do to expand on this. And this is a pretty simple way to set up a dynamic light system in your game.